All right, so the first cut. Actually, no, the first cut should be to break the deer's neck, making the skinning process easier. Now, I am right-handed and I'm not ambidextrous, so I always start with this leg because making this opening cut with my right hand is the easiest way to do it and the way I want to do it. So yeah, just there with that to make that opening cut. And then with skinning a deer, especially these little small deer like fallow deer, less is more. You just want to get it started. It's not about trying to do a heap of skinning with your knife, it's more about the punching and just getting everything good. So just coming up the leg, clearing around the front of the shoulder there, coming up the leg. And then as far as these joints go, you want to get the front joint, the flat joint, because I stick my little gimbal here into the leg, and if you get the joints further down, then the attachment isn't as strong. Easiest way to get it, I reckon, is just to fold the leg, try and twist the leg a little bit, then just use the butt of your knife and just roll it around until you find it. And then once you get in there like that, it'll just crack open, and I just go pretty easy on my knives when I'm playing with the joints, because my knives don't like joints. So rather than trying to just cut my way through it, just take my time, come down the side of the leg. Again, less is more, and then I just clean that bit of hair off, but then I just make a little hole here to put my little gimbal in, and then I'm over to the other side. Now these big opening cuts, or the guy that taught me the most about slaughtering said, if you're going to take a piece of skin, take a big bit. So just grab a bit of skin, get in, and just take a big bit. From there, I just like to remove a little bit of the brisket just to clear it up. And again, I'm just doing the least amount of knife work, because these little deer, fallow deer, I do red deer the same, but again I'm just marking it right so that I can get it to rip. So again, just coming up the legs a little bit each side, bending the leg, trying to twist the leg a little bit, using the butt of my knife, finding that joint, getting into that joint, straightening the leg, do one cut, one back cut, and then you can usually put a bit of pressure on it and break it. Again, coming down the side, less is more, make my little spot, and then get the gimbal in, and then up she goes. All right, the idea for me when I'm in the bush and skinning a deer is to get it off the ground as soon as I can. The sooner it's off the ground, the easier it is to do it, and the easier it is to keep all the dirt and leaves and crap off the deer. How does that look? Again, I want to do the least amount of knife work I can. I don't worry about all the hair and crap until I got the skin off, and then I'll clean it up. So again, I'm going to do one of these big scallop cuts going down here. As cool as these cuts look, they're really simple. You are just pulling the skin away from the animal, pulling towards me, and then I'm running the knife down the animal. This is an exaggerated, I'll use the leg here, this is exaggerated, but I'm actually holding the knife like that and then going that way. Therefore I can never cut the meat because the blade's angled away, and then I'm pulling the skin away as I come down, and that way you can only cut the skin, well, technically. So just go down the front of the animal, little buck this one, so get in there. I just put my leg to the side, pull this way, and then I just do one opening cut on the top sides, and then the same thing this other way, use my leg against the one cut out that way, and then just get down in here, down on the top sides. And once I'm down there, that's that. And again, these opening scallop cuts look a lot harder than they are, I guess. You're just again holding the holding the skin away, your knife edge away from the animal, pulling on the skin, which is creating that gap. Now this bit's the bit you want to get right with skinning these little deer. You just want to do the least amount of work you need to do with the knife before you start punching. And basically all that means is that I want to get down here until I get to the bark. This here is the bark, just exposing that bark, and once that bark is exposed, then it'll start to rip. So that's it, that's all I want to do there, just that little bit like that. I want to flip it around and do the same thing on the other side. Again, less is more when it comes to skinning these little deer, or skinning any deer. Again, I'd do a red hind exactly the same, maybe a big red stag. I'd skin the hang it up by the back legs and just do skin both back legs, get them off, and then hang it up by its front legs, could make it lighter. But yeah, that's it, that's all you want to do. And then you can clean up a bit of hair, but again, once the skin's off, I muck around with the deer for ages and get all the hair off it, and before I start boning the meat out. All right, I'll just get my phone and see if I can film this a little bit better. So again, you can just see this darker meat. This is the bark. That's all you need to do, is just to get to there, get this bark down. Don't keep from putting nicks in the bark. If you get a knife cut in the bark, then you need to kind of knife cut past where you've cut the bark so that it rips nice. Same thing on the other side. We just want to get past this bark, and then from there we're going to start punching. All right, and to punch, all we're going to do is use our thumb and forefinger together like that, and that's what we're punching with. We're just punching with this bit here into the deer. The idea is we're going to punch straight down there, go right down the side, and we're going to pop out down here underneath the top side, and as we come down we're going to drop our elbow to clear all the belly. So going in, using that thumb and forefinger, get a bit of a rip there, and then again that thumb and forefinger, we're going straight down around behind the back leg and out underneath the top side. When we come out underneath the top side, I'm going to turn my hand into a 90-degree, thumb and forefinger again. I'm going to stick it in and then just go down the back of the leg all the way down. And the same thing, we're going to flip it around and do the opposite. So now my left hand, thumb and forefinger, you can just kind of grab it now and give it a good pull, and then again thumb and forefinger. So if you make a nick here with your knife in that little bit of that process that we did, then all this bark pulls away and stays on the skin, and then it just gets really hard to rip it and doesn't look as pretty, and it makes it a lot harder when it comes time to actually cut the meat part of it up. So again, thumb and forefinger down the side, aiming for the groin of the animal, going onto the top side. Same thing, then getting making that, and then you're just running that down the back side of the leg like so. When you get to there, then we're just going to pull on the neck, get the neck cleared out, pull right down to the ears, and the head's gonna come off. And you can see there, see how that's starting to rip away. If you see that, then it's worth just making a few more cuts and trying to get it back to ripping again before you start pulling on it, otherwise again it'll all come away. I might not be able to save this, but just take your time, Nato. Less is more. I'll rip from this side a bit. Oh no, I'm going to lose that bit. Oh no, got it. So then rip down all the way down to the tail. Then when you get down to the tail, you'll see these little white bits here, there and there and there. Those are the joints. So just cut into the joint through there like so, then onto the legs. Now to cut the back legs off, looking at the front of the joint, it's just easy to cut it once underneath the bottom, roll around the inside of the leg, and I do that with the butt of my knife again. So this side going through there, rolling around the inside of the leg, and then you're breaking the leg towards the side that you've cut. So that way for that one, this way for that one. And again, I just like to keep it easy on my knife around the joints and taking them off. Now when I get to that point, I usually just want to get any hair and crap off my hands if I can, and then just with my knife just do a bit of clean up work around these opening cuts and try and get some hair off. When I'm in the bush, doing this stuff is fun, so I can muck around with the deer like this now for an hour, make sure it's all mint. For whatever reason, when I get home, kind of feels like a bit of a chore to cut up meat, but when I'm doing it in the bush, it's it's super fun. So yeah, I do as much of the work as I can while I'm in the bush, meaning that I got the least amount of work when I get home. All right, so once I'm kind of happy with that, I trim a lot off when the meat's hanging as well. So from there, I pull this up. I actually want to make this cut going this way because I want to try and get all this bit. Normally when you skin an animal, this bit will hit the ground, there's a bit of blood and stuff there, so if you cut that way, you kind of leave all that there. Whereas if you go under and then cut towards the front of the neck, then you get all that bit at the same time. And then I just clear out into there, just ringing it, going around in between both the front ribs, try and go down the backbone the full length of my knife. And then that messy bit that I just cut off, I just take that off, but leave this hanging out, because when you go upside down, depending on your shot or what's happened, you might get a little bit of guts coming out. So if you just leave the pipe there, it won't get anything on your meat, or you're far less likely to get stuff on your meat. From there, I need another rope. Now we're going to flip it up the other way. And then I just go up through my little gadget. If you wrap it around the tree that you're hanging it in, then you often knock bark and stuff off the tree, and that ends up on the meat, which isn't much fun. So I just do a lap around that, hey, and then get it up the other way to a nice workable height, and then just a couple of half hitches, round turn and 2 half hitches is a very simple but very effective knot. From there I'm going to drop it up the right way or up the wrong way, whatever way you want to call it. Make sure this is sharp. To do around the tail, I just make one cut right to the base of the tail, like so. Come up from the bottom side again, I'm right-handed. Make yourself a little handle, and then you're just coming around the top. Don't worry about going too deep, you just need to ring it. Everything else will pull out when you get on the other side. The only bit that's really holding it in is around the ring. Into the top side, like so. Now I always take the shoulders off before I gut the animal. Again, depending on the shot, you might have shot the animal quartering away or quartering to, and therefore you have a hole in the gut bag, so it could be a mess on the inside. So if you were to try and gut the animal now, you could get guts and stuff onto your meat. So I just make a little daisy chain up, and I take the shoulders off at this point. So to get the shoulders off, first of all I'm going to back it down just on either side of the finger bones, splitting the paddy wax in the neck, go all the way to the front of the neck and get down to the atlas and axis bones down the front here, and then just scallop those out. And then I just come up the neck bone a bit. I don't muck around too much with the neck to get too much of the meat, just like so. Make sure you got all the way into the bottom of the back steaks. Same thing on the other side. Obviously we want to get as close to these finger bones as we can because that's the best bit there. And again, same thing down this other side of the neck. Cut the paddy whack off, go down to the atlas and axis, scoop the meat out of the atlas and axis, and then come up that side of the neck. It's the paddy whacks that keep that neck in that funny position. Alright, so now I'm going to take the shoulders off. When I take my back steaks all the way down until the base of the neck. So to take the shoulder off, I just come through to where that's the back steak there, separate that back steak all the way down to the base of the neck here. So when I take a back steak out, I'm taking it all the way to there. This here is all real good meat, man. So just go straight in, hit the ribs, and then just follow that forward. Take the shoulder off, and then again I just have a little daisy chain, just go through where I had my little gimbal, a couple of half hitches like so, and then the other shoulder, this shoulder I come from the front because again I'm right-handed. Let's go from the brisket side this time, going up the ribs the other way, but same thing, I want to keep that back steak intact all the way to the back, the base of the neck. So just come through, get to that back steak, peel down, and animal's trying to spin on me. And this is what I mean about leaving this bit on. If anything was coming out of the throat or coming out of that area, that's more likely to stay away from your shoulder meat. So once the shoulders are off, now there's no risk of, if the gut bag is popped. On this one it isn't, it was a perfect broadside shot. But if the gut bag was popped and then you try and gut it, then you can end up again getting crap all over your meat. So it's the main reason I do that. So gut the animal, just come through. Once you get to here, I see a lot of guys doing this kind of stuff with the gutting and doing this kind of stuff and having this end of the knife anywhere near my hand. It makes me dry reach. The easiest way to do it is to do it the other way and put the butt of the knife into the animal, and then using this shelf here on the knife, pushing that shelf hard up against the inner gut wall and then coming down, and that way you can't actually, the blade isn't anywhere near the guts, it can't cut it. Even if it was on the ground gutting it, I'd hold this leg up and cut it until I got to there, and then do it that way if it was on the ground, and push that, put my hand in there, the whole butt of the knife in there, sit this on the inside of there, and then push that way. But because it's standing up, it's just easier to do a back cut, get the whole knife in. Even if you've got to have a couple of goes, again, it just avoids having to have your hand down this end of the knife. Like even running my knife that way on my hand, that's going to cut you. So yeah, just a little tip. All right, from there we're just going to reach up again. We've ringed this, so it should just pull out. And then from there we want to go hard into the back, not so hard that we cut the eye fillets. And to be fair, it's just easier to cut the flanks away at this, make it better to see in there, just through the fat, so we don't cut the eye fillets. At that point, go straight down the back of the backbone. We came up the backbone when we were on the going through the two front ribs when the animal was hanging up the other way. So we've cleared down the backbone this way, so we just want to go down the backbone that way before we start to go forward, and then just cutting the diaphragms. See, and there is a little, even though that was a perfect broadside shot, there is a little bit of guts in there. So again, just doing it that way just lessens the chance that you're going to get any of it onto your meat. And at that point I go fishing for liver and heart and stuff, which I need to find a bag for. So in my hunting pack I always just carry big plastic bags. They're actually home cooled bags from work. Those big heavy duty plastic bags. Basically just a pack liner. So I want the heart. Make a finger hole, cut the heart out. And I want the liver. The most nutritionist, the food with the most nutritional value is that on the planet. Can't be beat. That will cure cancer if you just ate that straight for days and days and days. All right, get the gut bag out, and then from there I'm going to take the back legs with everything on it. Leave the back steaks on the back leg, the flank on the back leg, everything on the back leg, and then just hang it up. So from there, just going into the H-bone, down the H-bone. A lot of boning and butchery work is all about cutting in the right places and then ripping. So again, just taking your time, just coming around the top, get around the point of that silver side bone, meeting up with the back steak cuts that we did, and then again the weight of the meat and cutting in the right place, it should just all rip. Find the joint. Once I find the joint, mark down the the eye fillet, sorry. And you can just rip them out, but they're so precious that I just lean them off, lean on them a little bit, and then cut and clear them out until again we get to the H-bone. And then from there I just want to cut in the right place, put a bit of weight on it. The back leg's already got weight on it as well, and then it should just rip away nice, because this is all rump steak, and the wedge end rump is my favorite part of the animal. So again, just putting a bit of weight on that, it's ripped away real nice. Come in, go straight underneath the H-bone, and then we're going to go down the back steaks and the finger bones. And you just want to deal with each one of these little lumps one by one. Take your time again, that's the best bit, right? Just want to move that eye fillet out so I don't slash it. I'll just come up the rib this way. Alright, then from there I just want to get me back steak all the way down to the base of the neck. Then same thing, that becomes part of my daisy chain. Alright, now the other side, and then this side we're obviously taking the bone off the meat rather than taking the meat off the bone. I'm going to leave the leg hanging there. So I just come down the rib cage, clear the back stake out first, down this bottom bit. And same process up here, we're just going to mark in to the H bone. Down the fillet, just kind of push it away a little bit and just a couple of delicate cuts. Get every last little bit of that fillet. And this one's like a backwards version of the other one. Getting into the joint, you want to come out and around that little silver side, point of the silver side there. And then same thing, once we've got it marked in the right places and we put a bit of pressure on it, it should just rip out of there beautifully. Hopefully my GoPro is pointed in the right place. And that just peels out of there like that. Come around the bottom of the H bone, straight in underneath there. Because again, the meat that's coming off of here, this is all the rump steak. And again, the wedge end rump is my favourite part of the animal. So I just take my time with these little bones, and because I cleared the back steak on this side from the other end up, it's just going to fall away pretty quick. And that's that. So at that point I then just leave the animal hanging there for a bit and let it cool down. I do cut the top sides open a little bit sometimes, depending on the size of the animal. This thing's only little and whatnot, so yeah, have something to eat, let it cool down a bit, and then we'll butcher the rest of it and get it in the bag and get it in the pack and get out of here. So what I was talking about there is just following this seam on the inside, the top side. Just get into that seam, get into the bone, and then follow the bone straight down. What's that's doing is just allowing the animal to cool down fast and get the heat out of it. And then on this side it's the mirror version. So coming down the seam on this side, everything about butchery again is seams and cutting in the right place and then ripping. Coming down the inside of that mouse again, hit that bone, come down the bone, and just fold it away. It just helps to get that heat out of the meat quicker. And then, like I say, now it's time to have something to eat. Oranges off the tree at home. I don't think it gets any better snack wise than something you grew on your own section, especially in the bush while you're cutting up meat that you harvested yourself. 3 oranges later. Alright, so I have 2 plastic bags. I have one for cuts and then one for all the trim for the mince. Myself and my partner Claire with an eye eat truckloads of mince, so I pretty much take everything. So once I get home I'll show you what I do with each cut and how I cut them up and whatnot, but for now I'm just going to take the cuts that I want, that bag, and then trim in this bag. So inside of the leg is the top side, just following that seam, take the top side off, then I take the eye of the silver side off. I use the eye of the silver side for trim. So again, just getting in the seams, following that down, so that's going to end up mince. The trim on the sides of the back steaks, when it comes to bruising and stuff from arrows and bullets, don't muck around. Just you spend a heap of time trying to save meat and you get to the end of it and it wasn't worth saving, so just hack it out. But again, that's trim. And that's my back steak. Separate I'll take the eye fillet out first actually. And when I'm doing this, I'm trimming any hair and crap, and whatever I don't want stays behind. Only everything that's going home is what I want. So from here, the eye fillet, I take the eye fillet up as high as I can and get as much of it as I can, and then when I get home I separate the two, break it all up, and again I'll show you what I do with it when I get back home. So eye fillet, then the back steak, which is just cutting it off straight underneath the rump. Trim. Now the wedge-end rump is my favorite part of the deer, but I cap the rump. So in a home kill situation like a beef animal, you wouldn't cap the rump. The cap would stay part of the rump, but I leave that on the silver side and just follow that seam all the way down, and then I turn the silver side into Wiener Schnitzel because it's a little bit chewy for this animal. Would be okay for steak, but normally it would be silver side, so schnitzel, sorry. So again, normally that would get cut through there, and this piece here would be the cap of the rump, but that bit, as far as steaks go, is a little bit chewy at times. Then from here, just get into the thick flank, go down, and then you'll hit the seam on the front of that wedge end rump as well, just there, and just follow that out. It's trim, and then that little piece of meat there is my favorite piece of the whole deer. That there is the wedge end rump. It is beauty. Fry it up whole. It is awesome. And then the thick flank, might as well trim a bit of this off. When I get home, all the silver skin comes off everything. Let's just get around and under the knuckle, under the knee. If you cut hard into the bone, again, if you do everything, cut in the right places and put a bit of weight on things, in butchery, most things peel away for you. So that's the thick flank, and then bone the shin out. Mince meat, sausages, salami, patties, just all the small good stuff. But again, me and my partner eat heaps of mince, heaps of venison mince. You can do anything with it, and it's awesome. Alright, so that's one leg. This leg, of course, just being a mirror image of the other one. So same thing, take the top side out. Beautiful cut of meat. The top side is one of my favorites as well. You can do almost anything with it. Take the trim out off the side of the back steak. Get the fillet out as high as possible, as much of it as possible. Then the back steak. Down the front of the thick flank, hit the seam on the front of the wedge end, follow that down. Oh, bit of here. Go to the eye of the silver side, peel the eye of the silver side off. Mince. And again, when you're doing these cuts, I don't know if you can see that, but you just see that little change of muscle. It's all about seams, so you're just doing little nick cuts and getting into the seams and then putting a bit of weight and things falling away. And again, I take the silver side all the way down, just follow that seam all the way down and take the cap off the rump, leaving the wedge end behind. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Wedge end. Thick flank. And the shin meat. Wait, don't cut that. Now again, when it comes to bruising on the animal, don't muck around. Just, you see the bruising, just hack it out. Again, I've spent ages at times trying to save as much meat as possible, and you get to the end of it and you've spent all this time and there's not actually that much left, so just get it all in one go and just get it out. Because again, you'll just spend ages and you'll get to the end of it and wonder why you did. Can save the neck bit's usually good though, just got to get that paddy whack out of it. Oh, still a bit more underneath there. Bit of hair from the opening cuts. Alright, to bone the front legs, the easiest thing to do is just to get to the front of the leg. So if your animal is standing looking straight at you, this is the front side of the leg. Just hit the top, get into the bone, come straight down around the joint, hit the clod bone, come straight down the clod bone, go just underneath the shelf, get in, then you're going to hit the back side of the blade. And then again, everything in butchering is just about marking the right place and then just ripping it. Pull that little pocket roast out, which is all trim. Scratching the back side of the blade, flicking out of the tendon, and again just marking onto the blade. Hey, it's probably not even worth trying to get it. Alright, this side of the shin just coming down there, come around like so, get onto that side, and then that there, that clod bone, blade bone, that triangle there is the bowler roast, and there's my arrow hole in the bowler triangle. Stick a bullet or an arrow through that and we'll try and hit the offside one, and a deer, a pig or anything with 4 legs isn't going to last very long at all. So from there I just scratch down each side of the clod bone, do one kind of little back cut up and around the elbow on each side. Get underneath the elbow, come down over that little shelf on the clod bone, break the blade joint open, do a little nick down the side of the ridge on the blade bone, and then once you get in and cut to the bone, then most things in butchery is just about cutting in the right place and peeling it off, and then that way you end up with nice clean bones. So just getting as much meat as you can, obviously got to cut that piece off, but yeah, getting as much meat as you can just by cutting into the bones and peeling away. Once again, this side is a mirror of the other side, so we're just going to remove all the bruising in one big chunk. Can save that bit of neck though. After we get the paddywhack out, there's no point carrying that home. Not going to eat that. Oh, and again, just try and get it all in one go. Right, same thing. Front, looking at the front legs, just come straight down, round the joint, hit the clod bone, straight down the face of the clod bone, around underneath the shelf. The ridge on the blade is now on the other side. So again, just going through until you hit that. One little nick down that side and it should just rip off. If you do a little back cut this way and again scratch the bone, then the front side of that blade should rip as well. Nice clean bones. One little scratch that side of the bowl of triangle, one little scratch down the ridge of the blade, down each side of the clod bone. There's a little shelf in there, you just want to get over that little shelf, and then a little back cut up into the elbow down this side. No damage to the bowl of triangle from my arrow on this side. And same thing, just come over that shelf, bust that joint open a little bit, mark the top of the blade joint, and then the blade bone will just rip. And I put the bowl roast and all of that into trim because again we love trim, love the mince, And that's that. And again, just by cutting into the bone and then putting a bit of weight on everything, you just get a nice clean finish. And it's actually easier to cut in the right place and get it to rip than it is to do it all manually with cutting, if that makes sense. Bit of meat there, Nato. But yeah, that is that. Get that in the pack, get home, and then I'll show you what I do with all of the cuts, how I cut them up, the bits of the cuts that aren't worth turning into steak, making them trim and whatnot. So yeah, see you there. Should add too that this here, all this is a tie down. So it's a tie down that I just made a little loop on there with a needle and thread and some fishing braid. Obviously go around the tree onto that, and then this is just a tie down strap, so it can only pull one way. Obviously you can do that, but it's just a real easy system to get an animal up off the ground by yourself. And yeah, it works mint. Alrighty, back at home. 2 back steaks, 2 silver sides, 2 thick flanks, 2 eye fillets, 2 wedge end rumps, and only 1 top side, because 1 top side got turned into Wiener Schnitzel for dinner last night. But before we start, I got to show you this. Check that out. A brother from another mother, Mac, literally made that for me, and I just picked it up. How cool is that? I had an old barbecue table that I text Mac and said, hey dude, can you get a piece of timber for me to screw onto the top of my old barbecue table? And he was like, yeah, sweet, bring your barbecue table out. And then I went out there and he pulled the old barbecue table apart and literally created that. But enough about that. There's actually another whole video that I'm going to make about him doing it, because it was just so cool. So we'll get into cutting up this meat. Alright, so top side first, which is the inside of the leg. So what the first thing I do is cap the top side. There's just a thin layer of meat that runs over the top of the top side. And if you leave it on and cut steaks and stuff out of it, then your steaks just get really piecey in that. So that's trim. Just going to square it up a little bit, and you want to cut your top side from this way through. If you look at the end of the top side there, you can see that all the muscle fibers run this way, and cutting this way, you're cutting across the grain. And when it comes to venison, I usually use the top sides for Wiener Schnitzel, and they go to Milan because Milan loves Wiener Schnitzel. It's his favourite. So Milan normally gets the top sides. Top sides are an awesome cut of meat for almost anything. Again, Wiener Schnitzel is awesome. You can use it for steak, just cutting it nice and thick for steak. That's trim. Or you could roast it or crock pot it, or yeah, it's a really good cut of meat. And if you just get down to that part of it, I get a bit fussy and take all the silver skin off everything. And only eat the best of the best when it comes to steak and schnitzel and things like that, because again, we eat a lot of mince, and everything that we don't eat is mince. So again, that top side there is going to Milan. He's coming soon to pick it up, and it is really good for Wiener Schnitzel. So just cutting, just knife schnitzel. I'm not too it's not exactly the machine cut schnitzel, but so that's Milan, Alex, Marco's and Madeline's dinner tonight. We'll chuck that up the other end of the table. Now the thick flank, like the top side's just got a few extra little seams of muscles and stuff on it. And I just like to pick all of them out, otherwise you get a real piecey steak, and it's just, yeah, so if you just get in, you can see these seams in here, and just find those seams and then just pull those little piecey bits out, and then what you're left with when you cook it up as steak and whatnot, it's just, yeah, a lot nicer to deal with. And again, I'm just then going to go around and take all the silver skin. You don't have to be this fussy, but if you leave the silver skin on the outside of the cuts and then you go cook the, you know, if you cut this into a steak and then cooked it, the silver skin shrinks, and when the silver skin shrinks, it kind of pulls the whole steak out of shape, and it all like curls up in the fry pan, and yeah, just pulls all the steak way out of shape. I'm actually going to take that muscle off the side of it as well, go down that seam and take that bit out. And then again, that's the thick flank, and then I just take the minute layer of the silver skin off the outside. Obviously the silver skin is a little bit chewy as well. It's the part that you're going to be chewing on when you're eating. Then from there, just square it up a little bit. Now the thick flanks are really good for schnitzel as well. If I was doing a home kill beef animal, or if you got a home kill back from the butcher, 9 times out of 10 the thick flank is used for Wiener Schnitzel, but it makes a really good steak. And these steaks are actually going back to Mac as a massive thank you for making this bench. So that's thick flank steak. We'll chuck that up the other end. The eye fillets, I put all the fat from the any deer that I get straight into the mince, because they're not exactly the fattest of animals anyway. And the eye fillet has a little seam on this side. It's actually 2 parts to it. I throw the little seam into the mince trim and just dig the main part of the eye fillet out. And then same thing, I'm going to pluck, cut, do whatever I can to get all the silver skin off of everything. So just do that, and the silver skin I don't put into the trim. Silver skin can go into the bin. Alright, so I just cook the eye fillets whole like that, and then when you go up high into the eye fillet, there's a little piece of meat, which is this piece of meat here, which sits at the top of the eye fillet on one side. Now I keep those little pieces of meat, and then while I'm frying up dinner, those little pieces of meat become snacks out of the fry pan as I go. Now for my favourite part, the wedge end rump. So the same thing, there's a couple of seams on the inside. This is where we rip the H-bone off. So I just go into here, and there's a couple of seams. Where am I? There. There's just a couple of seams in here. I just pull it out because again it gets real piecey, and I cook the wedge ends whole. So that goes into trim. That goes into trim. Take any of the silver skin or the edge of the H-bones off. Take all of the outside off, because again when you cook it, the fat and the silver skin shrinks, which then pulls the steak completely out of shape. So that there is the wedge end, and it's just a bit thick, so I just put a couple of just half deep slashes in it, and then I cook that as that. So I drop that exactly like that, get the fry pan hot, cover the thick flank, the wedge end rump with oil. Don't oil the pan, oil the meat, get the meat to room temperature, drop that into a hot fry pan, let the meat stick. When it's cooked, it'll unstick, and then flip it over. And normally about 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes each side, depending on the size of the wedge end, and then that comes out absolutely beautiful. And then of course, our big long back steaks. So the first thing I do with the back steaks is just hack them in half, and that there is the sirloin end of the back steak, and this would be the Scotch fillet end of the back steak up towards the neck. So this is, I've pulled this again right out to the base of the neck. Now with this, there's a seam, because I take my back steak all the way to the neck, you end up with this bit of, well, it's the second part of the muscle here, and I just scoop that off, take that right off, and just keep, again you can see all the silver skin in here, just makes it a little bit chewy, so that can goes in the mince trim. And then pull this piece of silver skin out. Silver skin's just like taking the skin off a fish when you're filleting. You're just pushing your knife, cutting towards the silver skin, and try and save as much of the meat as you can. And then just take that bit of neck off there. And then on this side of things, I just pluck all this off as well. There's little bits of silver skin that have come off from close to the bone, or ripping the meat from the bone kind of leaves that on there a little bit. So I just skin that like so. And then that bit of meat there in the fry pan, the same as the wedge end. Just oil the steak, don't oil the pan, get the pan hot, drop it in, and then just time it. And for the back steaks, for that end of the back steak, it's only like 4 and 4, and then rest it for 4. And for this end, it'll be like 6 and 6, and rest it for 6. So now again, we're just going to take all the silver skin off. So the first thing I do is just take this leading edge off, because it's a lot thicker than the rest of it, and just gets it started. And then we're going to, it's usually easier to do it without the fat on the silver skin. Just take that seam, down that seam right there, pull all that off, and then we're going to take that silver skin off. Just take your time with it. Again, it's just like doing a fish, just cutting towards the silver skin. The silver skin's a lot chewier than the meat, and you don't want to leave too much meat on the silver skin, because obviously you want to eat it. And the same thing on this side, just removing all the piecey bits. So this is all the bits that were in amongst the bones. Just when it comes time to cook it and eat it, it just gets a bit piecey. It's falling to bits on you, and there's a little bit of silver skin here from the getting all the meat from close to the bone. If I'm going to eat steak, then I'm going to eat the best of the best. And I just enjoy fussing with it and getting the best out of it, if that makes sense. It's precious. I don't get too many deer with my bow, and the ones I do get are gold. And my partner and I really enjoy eating meat that we get ourselves, and all food that we get ourselves. So I just want to treat it with the utmost respect and get the absolute best out of it. Again, none of it's going to waste. It's still, we eat a lot of mince, so then yeah, that's the back steaks. So the only one left now is the silver side. Now silver side, I reckon was called silver side by a lazy butcher, because this silver side here, this big piece of silver skin that runs down there, which is probably equivalent to your IT band, if you've ever gone to the massage therapist and they pushed on the outside of your leg and it hurt like crap, that's probably what they're pushing into there, which is the IT band. Now it's pretty hard to get that out without looking like you lost half of your meat. But same thing, at the end of the day, it's just a big bit of silver skin, so just get your knife in and it goes the full length of the silver side. And then on this side of the silver side, there's also, you can see the silver skin there, and there's also like a, if I just shave this bit, there's a bit of meat on the side of the silver side which has that silver skin going right through it. So I just shave all that off, trim, and then fish this little piece of silver skin out of here too. Silver side's a little bit of a chewy cut, so I go to the extra effort of just completely skinning the whole cut. Just to make it a little bit more better as a steak and better as Wiener Schnitzel or whatever you're going to use it for. So again, if you leave all this on, it's not a bad thing, but when you cook it, it all shrinks and shrivels and pulls your whole piece of steak out of proportion, and it's chewy. So if you get it off, then the steak or the schnitzel or whatever you're going to use the silver side for left behind is just a bit better. So I just literally skin the whole outside of the silver side and take that bit of chewy stuff off. And what you're left with is so much better having done it. Right, so that's the silver side. Again, if you're going to cut it into steak, cut it that way. Or you see all the fibres of the meat are running this way, so you're going to cut it that way. Again, that'll end up schnitzel or steak. There's a little bit of hair on there, Nato. So I'm probably going to turn that one into schnitzel for me and Claire. The only problem with the silver side is it's lots of little pieces, which can get a little bit painful when it comes to breadcrumbing and things. So when I cut it, I'm trying to make the bits as big as I can by kind of doing it like sushi, I guess. Going down it that way, trying to make the bits of schnitzel just that little bit bigger. Which is very challenging if your knife isn't good. I just did the other half without filming it, but yeah, end product. 2 eye fillets. The 2 sides on the top of the eye fillets, I eat those while I'm cooking because they cook really easily and they're soft and beautiful. And anyway, 2 silver sides are turned into Wiener Schnitzel for Milan. Obviously those are the back steaks, sirloin end, Scotch end, sirloin end, Scotch end. The 2 thick flanks, which would normally be Wiener Schnitzel, make them into steak. The top side is Wiener Schnitzel, and we've already eaten one top side of the schnitzel. The 2 wedge end rumps, that is all of the trim out of one deer, and that is the only thing that I carried out of the bush that I'm not going to eat. So, with all of that said, hopefully there's something in this video that you learnt that you can apply to what you do to make what you do just a little bit better. And other than that, just chur chur, my brothers and sisters. Thank you all so very, very much for watching. I'm about to bag all this meat up and take it out to Mac along with some venison sausages and a few other bits and pieces to say a massive chur chur for my amazing new filleting bench that also doubles as a deer cutting up bench. It's even got the Bowler Triangle logo in it. How cool is that? And if you look down this end, it's got the lateral line.